Has President Biden consulted this decision with the leaders of the Republican Party? And how does he feel about their support? Because there were some voices on the American right questioning President Biden's policy towards Russia-Ukraine crisis.
Well, I would say that we have had an enormous amount of we've done an enormous amount of briefing and engagement with Democratic and Republican leaders about the decision making and how we're approaching the escalatory nature of Russia's behavior on the border. Senator McConnell made some comments in that regard last week, and this is an issue in our view that should not be partisan. What we're doing here is we're standing up for what have long been bipartisan American values, which is standing up for the sovereignty of a country, ensuring that they have the right and the ability to choose their own alliances, supporting them with a range of economic, humanitarian, and security assistance, and doing that in a way that's coordinated with our partners and allies. There are some from the Republican Party who have not voiced support for that. And again, as I said a little bit earlier in the briefing, if you are digesting Russian misinformation and parroting Russian propaganda, you may be on the wrong side of this issue. Go ahead.
Hi. Two questions.
Yeah.
The first, does the president know who Leonard Peltier is?
Sure he does, but I have not discussed it with him.
Just call me and let me know if he knows. Is he aware of the push by Democratic senators and members of Congress and native state legislators and even Pope Francis at one point to send Peltier home from prison?
I have not discussed this with him specifically. I'm happy to see if there's any more follow-up.
And then my second question is about the Supreme Court. Some Republican senators like Ted Cruz are criticizing Biden for saying he'll pick a black woman for the Supreme Court. He said it's quote unquote offensive because somehow the black woman he chooses wouldn't be the most qualified for the job. But Republicans like Cruz also celebrated when Trump picked Amy Coney Barrett for the Supreme Court, with Cruz telling Barrett during her confirmation hearing, quote, "Your children have been wonderfully well behaved. I think you're an amazing role model for little girls. What advice would you give little girls?" So my question for you is, why do you think Republicans like Ted Cruz are acting so angry about Biden picking a black woman for the Supreme Court when they were very happy when Trump picked Amy Coney Barrett for the court?
I read that exact quote yesterday. I'm glad lots of people are following it. You know, I think that's really a question for Senator Cruz. But it is important to note, as you just did in your question, that there was never an objection by Senator Cruz to Donald Trump promising he'd nominate a woman in 2020. You noted what he said to the woman he nominated in the hearing and how he applauded her in the hearing. The notion, the president's view is the notion that there has not been a black woman ever on the Supreme Court in 230 years is a problem with the process, not a lack of qualified, credentialed people to consider and nominate. You know, that's his view, but I think that's a question best for Senator Cruz.